Discovery 3 part 3.5.4 setting up a network. So this one can be tricky if you make typos. It can really screw things up. So I've already attached the cables. I won't waste your time on that. First we have to configure the ISR router. So I've used no IP domain lookup so it doesn't wander around if you make a typo. So we have to use conft, set the host name, password, and set a password on the VTY and console lines, and then save that setting. Let's go ahead and do that. Go to our CLI and hit paste. Doesn't know what EX means. Exit .yar. EXI. Okay, now we go to the floor 1 switch. Set up the host name, password, set a password, on the VTY and console lines. I'm actually going to set the password for line VTY 0 through 15 instead of 0 through 4. It reflects more what a real router is like. Paste. Okay, if you want to check that, you can go show run. Just make sure your password's set up right, no IP domain lookup. Show your line console. We've set the password for all these connections. So we'll go to switch 2. And paste that in. Again, if you want to check it, you go show run. Make sure your stuff is set up correctly. You didn't make a typo. Alright. Moving on to floor 3. Paste. Show run. Set up my host name, my password, domain name, no IP domain lookup. So other interfaces I've set up passwords for them. Alright. Now the next step is to set the interfaces connecting floor 1, 2, and 3 switches as trunk ports. So we'll set the interface on the floor 1 switch connecting to the ISR router as a trunk port. So here's the directions for floor 1 port. It sets up gigabit 11 to switch port mode trunking, and the FA024 port 2 trunking. Control C. Jump over to this guy and hit paste. Okay. I'll go show interface trunk. Alright, so it shows us our gigabit port is trunking on 802.1q. For some reason it doesn't show the 024 fast Ethernet switch port. I'll go to the next switch, copy, let's see, paste. Make sure I didn't make a mistake here. So we set, let's see if I set it up right, show interface trunk, and we've set gig 1 and 2 to trunking mode successfully, and all the VLANs are allowed, and there's the VLANs in active management. It's just the native VLAN. That looks good. Jump over to floor 3. Paste. Okay. Show interface trunk. Shows our gig interface is trunking successfully. That's all this step does, is set up your trunking ports. Okay, now we need to enable the interface on the ISR router connecting to the floor 1 switch. So the ISR router interfaces fast Ethernet 00. Paste. Bing, that thing is turned on now. We go show interface trunk. And it doesn't really do anything. Okay. Next step is to create and configure 3 sub-interfaces on our router's fast Ethernet 00 port. Alright, and we have to set the encapsulation and set an IP address for each sub-interface. These will interface to our VLANs. So this is fast Ethernet 00.20. Here's our encapsulation. .1q4 interface 20. Here's the IP address and the subnet mask. Copy. What the heck, I think we can do them all at once. There's one for each of the 3 interfaces. Okay. Now each of the 3 VLAN interfaces should be set up. And we can check those if you like. Show interface, and you have to be specific. FA0/0.20. And it shows it that it's .30. Let's see, here's .20. Line protocol's up. Here's our address for it. Okay. You can check each one of those if you like. Here's step 4, configure the VTP domain. So the domain means it's an area controlled, it's a set of switches controlled by a single server switch. So what we have to do is configure the VTP domain name, the mode, which is going to be server, client, or transparent. We have to set a VTP password and then save it. So for floor 2 and 3 they get the same commands. Okay, paste. And it'll tell you it's already set to site X, it's already client mode, or it's set to client mode, confirming that you set the password. We can go show VTP status, show us that we're in client mode and our domain name site X, which is what we want to see for both of these. Show VTP status, client mode and domain site X. Now we'll set up the server. Make sure you spell site X the same for both the client and the server, otherwise you get a domain error. It'll squawk at you. Alright, go show VTP status. Here's set in server. Name site X. Okay. After that, we set up the VTP server. Step 5 is to configure the VLANs. Here's their number and the label for each one. And then we have to assign, in this case we're going to assign a fast Ethernet port for each floor. Just for starters, we can go show interface. We already looked at that. Trunking should be fine. You can go show VLAN before we get going. All the VLANs are in the native domain. They're all defaulted right now. I'll drop some instructions in. This is all for switch. We'll name the VLANs. I'll go interface FA01. It's going to be switch port mode access. Then we'll set the switch port access to VLAN 20. Then the interface gig11, set the switch port mode trunk. I think that's redundant. Okay, show VLAN again. Now we have VLAN 20, 25 and 30 added, and fast Ethernet 01's added to the VLAN 20. That's this PC, it's reconfiguring itself. Alright, we'll go to switch 2. We already set up the VTP domain. I think we just need to set interface FA01 switch port access. Switch port mode access. I screwed up there. T. Copy. sure I get the right one. Switch to, paste, class, enable, Cisco123 is the password there. Go show VLAN. It didn't get assigned. I think I screwed up. Too many exits. Didn't like that. Fix that. Okay, now get the right interface there. Paste. Exit. WR. Show VLAN. Alright, now we got our port FA01 into VLAN 25. Okay, switch port. Mode access. Conf T. VLAN 30 is up here, connection. Okay, show VLAN. Now we have FA01 assigned to VLAN 30 for the top floor. Still negotiating. Let's see, 25.101. I'm going to ping some PCs here. Ping 92.168, 25.101. There we go, we got a reply from one VLAN to the other. Since the ISR is working as the VLAN trunking protocol server, VLAN to go from one to the other has to go up through the router on a stick and then back up to the other VLAN. Try one more ping. 192.168.30.101, or that's 25. We are on 30. There we go, we're pinging. And that's a quick look at doing this long packet tracer.